G'day Aussie Gridiron fans. Welcome to the G'day Gridiron podcast Super Bowl Reactions show. It is the final game of the season. We're here to do reactions from all over Australia. Let's go. Good evening, gentlemen. Full house tonight for the Super Bowl reaction show. We've worked hard to try and get this. We're a couple of days late just so that we can get all four of us in the same room, in the same studio, and get all of our thoughts on what an amazing game we had. How you going, Isaac?
I'm really good. It's been a struggle, but we are here.
Nick? Be a struggle for you. The only 49ers presence on the entire night was Kyle Shanahan on a broadcast and a couple of players on various broadcasts.
Well, I saw Fred Warner on I watched it through the Channel 7 sort of stream when I was watching it live. It broke my heart just knowing that one more week and it would have been back.
One more week.
It would have been back.
One more week. You saw your stadium look the best it's ever looked. That's for sure. All decked out in opposition colours. Ladies and gentlemen, Brad has finally watched a New England Patriots Seattle Seahawks Super Bowl. It took 2 extra days where Brad astoundingly managed to stay radio silent on the biggest game on the planet. But we finally got there, Brad. You had to endure famine, drought, power outages.
He did go thirsty.
Dodge every earplugs in whenever children were talking to you for the entirety of 2 days in the classroom. I'm sure.
Yeah, we did. So just for the listener, long story short, my power went out at my house. And so I, for over 24 hours, so I had to wait, and I just was committed to not trying to find out. And in fact, my whole family, we were somewhat committed to it. And my son accidentally found out, but he was the only one that did. So the majority of us watched it without knowing the outcome. So yeah, it was good. I had one student, a year 12 girl, threaten. She says, "Well, what happens if we do tell you?" And I basically said, "I'll punch you in the face." But other than that,
instant failure. That's
yeah, exactly.
I grade.
No uni for
I grade your reports. No uni for you. I tell you to go and ask the last kid that told me the result of the Super Bowl, but no one's been able to find him since.
That's right. Exactly. There's reports of a body somewhere, but yeah.
Oh, Brad. So for the first ever time. So you've still only watched one Patriots Seahawks Super Bowl, I'm assuming?
Yeah, I have. In fact, and so this, I got to admit, I was watching the ESPN pregame show, because even though I was still 2 days behind, I still wanted to watch all the pregame stuff. And I was watching the ESPN pregame show, and they kind of did a highlight of the previous Super Bowl with the Seahawks Patriots, and that was the first time I've ever watched a highlight package of that game. Wow. And you guys weren't wrong. It was a good game.
It's a cracker of a game. Similarly to this game, Brad.
How many years?
What has that been? 10 years, 9 years since that last game. So that's the only Super Bowl that I have not seen in the last 40 plus years.
So it was a good game, Brad, just like this one was.
Much better result. Far better.
No, not at all. It
was a much better result because there was no boneheaded last play. So,
yeah, exactly.
Technically.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Anyway, what a Super Bowl, boys. Who wants to kick this off? Just overall thoughts. What a Super Bowl.
Absolutely it was. So I was going for the Seahawks. Nick wasn't. Isaac, where were you at on this? Because you weren't on the previous show. Were you? Did you have?
Yeah, I
can't
I
remember.
was hoping for the winner of football, to be honest. I
No, okay, yeah.
couldn't.
I want a political answer. I hope all Reds
See, he's-
fans can help you, mate.
Isaac,
All
the
5 of you.
politician.
Please no, don't look into my background. Yeah, like, yeah, I just wanted a good game. I probably wanted the Seahawks to win for Sam Darnold and that story of where he was when the Jets let him go or when he was at the Jets. But as a NFC West supporter, I didn't want the Seahawks to win, so it was just a Super Bowl for me.
Yeah, right. So is that, Nick, was that kind of your rationale? The fact that you're a 49ers lover and so therefore you can't have a division team win it?
Well, Brad, were you supporting Philly last year?
Hell no.
There
They
you
can
go.
rot.
Exactly.
They can rot
Exactly.
in sewer
Thank you.
for all
End
I
of
care
story.
about.
Exactly. End of story.
Yeah. No, I just wanted to clarify. That's because that's what I
No,
thought.
I'm not taking the on the fence stance like Isaac. No, none of that. I'm not having any of that.
No politician, Nick.
No, definitely not a politician.
Good. Yeah. I don't know about you guys, but I just I felt like it was the type of game that the casual fan, so like my wife and my daughter, they actually left before the game was over. It was that
Yeah.
disinteresting to them, but I loved it, you know, from a defensive standpoint, and I think we've said it before. I thought it was a defensive masterclass, and so a lot of the nuances were amazing to me. But for the casual fan, no, it was not a good game.
So, watching the first quarter, I was more like I said to some of the guys at work, I was like, whichever quarterback settles down first, if it was Drake May or Sam Darnold, whichever one settles into the game first, that team's going to win. You could see it from there because the defenses were so good.
Sure.
Christian Gonzalez was so good.
Oh, phenomenal.
He saved at least 12 points.
100%.
At least
The
12
guy,
points.
the guy was unreal. I just kept saying to my family, "He's a duck. He's a duck. He's a duck."
And also too,
So-
like the special teams for Seattle were pretty much, you would say, won them the game because you had the field goals from Myers and Dixon putting three punts within the 10-yard line. That with the way Drake May was playing really piled on some more pressure. So I think that was the 2 points there.
Yeah. Ian, I don't want to step on you if you got a specific question you asked, but I thought this was the ultimate team win, like the most complete team win that I've seen. Just in the sense of there was no one aspect of this game. Well, the defense, obviously, but in terms of like typically the light is always shine on the offense. But like what you said, Isaac, the special teams, the defense for the Seahawks, the run game for them. I thought they played really good situational football. I thought McDonald did a great job there. So, you know, what happened in that fourth quarter with the Patriots scoring, they made it look respectable. But the reality was I felt like this game was over a lot sooner than that.
Yeah.
I think it was after the third or fourth punt in a row by the Patriots when I felt like it was really getting away from them. Because I'm being serious.
No,
The Seahawks were managing to move the ball. They were managing to get the odd first down and make a play, move the ball, and get up into field goal range enough that they could then just let Myers take it. And he was absolutely nails considering the wind that was in that stadium. Like there was one that was a wild. It just pitched wildly to one side. But it's like he planned it for that as well to go with the wind.
Yeah.
So, but they were moving that ball appropriately and efficiently to get to that point where they could just take the points, whatever points were necessary or whatever they could get at all, and they would take those points.
I'm so glad I picked the under on total punts in this game.
I smashed that.
Talk about a bad bet for me.
The under on total punts.
Yeah.
Well, there's some controversy that goes with all that too, which we can bring up in a little bit. But yes, this set a new record actually for the most punts.
Did it? I didn't know. I didn't realize that it was.
It's not the most punts by one kicker in a game, but it's like the most. There was a record for the most in a row by one team. In terms of drives, like all of their drives, which is the Patriots. Barringer ended up with 8 punts. Dixon ended up with 7. So this is a very high punt game. But I was looking up the stats during the game of which game or what's the highest amount of punts ever in the Super Bowl, and that's 11.
Okay.
Stupidly. We were nearly there. By one team. By one team, by the way.
Okay.
That's 11.
Okay.
And that was the what did we say it was? It was Ravens Giants. It was the Ravens Giants Super Bowl. Yeah, and wildly the Ravens had like 7 punts as well in that game. So it was like 18 punts an entire game.
What a game.
What a dog shit Super Bowl that was.
The real positions coming out. The punters.
Punters in the Super Bowl, apparently.
Little did you know that you'd tune into this episode and we'd be talking punters.
Well, a couple other records just quickly is Jason Myers set a record for the most field goals made in Super Bowl history with 5.
Okay.
And he also set a record for the most points by a kicker in Super Bowl history.
Oh, wow. All right. Okay.
So there was two records in that. But absolutely wild. There is a little bit of special teams for the win. Absolutely. So there is a bit of controversy around the whole Patriots thing and the amount of punting. Just the way Drake May was playing. If you remember, he was on the injury list early in the week, or coming out of the championship game. His throwing shoulder, and then he practiced all week, and he said he was fine. They said he was fine. He took every snap during practice. He was off the injury report, and then it comes out. He admitted wildly. I don't know why you would admit this yourself, but after the game, he said that he had to have pain-killing injections into his throwing shoulder prior to the game.
Oh, wow.
And you don't have a pain-killing injection and not be injured. Like, it's not just...
Yeah, you don't do that for fun.
Yeah.
You don't do that for fun, which is and Americans are blowing up now that they found that out because, of course, now that the NFL is sort of tied with sports betting, a lot of people are going, well, if this information was available earlier, maybe people wouldn't have been placing prop bets on Drake to throw over a certain number. I mean, he did still throw 295 yards and 43 attempts, which is insane. But you can see it starts to make sense with like some of those throws over the middle, which were to like someone's grandmother in the stands. Stuff like that. Yeah, if you have an injection of Toradol into your throwing shoulder, how can you feel what you're doing at any point? Because some of them were like, I think everybody in the world was watching it going, who was that to? What were you doing there? Like, so.
Yeah, I was just about to say, it didn't look like it was his arm that was the problem. It's more so his decision making. Like he held on to the ball for a very long time as well, most of the time in the pocket, and with that weakness on the left side of the line coming through the playoffs, and then you come up against a good pass rush. I'm not quite sure as to why they had drawn up so many players where he was sitting in the pocket for long, but he also didn't take off and scramble as much, which was weird. Then he had the 3-play, he turned the ball over, then he had the 3-play where it bang, 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 and then scored with the quick response. It was like, okay, there's a bit of momentum, bit of flow, and then he went straight back to, there was one that should have been picked, but I think it was dropped by Bryant. There was double coverage over the middle, and then I think the very next play or the one after was another pick for him. So just felt like he's trying to force the ball again, which is a bit uncharacteristic, but I think at that stage they were probably like, we've got to take shots, we've got to take chances. Because I mean, we had said it. I said it to you, Brad, once you had finished the game. I said it's very much, you could tell from very early on the squeeze was on. Yeah. It was 100% on. And at 3-0, That's a good result for the Patriots. 6-0 was still good. Their defense was making some stops on crucial red zone trips. And then once it got to about 9-0 and the Patriots still hadn't moved the ball, and it's like, what is going to happen here? Are they going to be able to score twice here? Is that are they going to actually be able to score at all at some point? So once it got to 12-0, it felt like, yeah, it's probably a touchdown away from this being over. I mean, when I was watching it live, it pretty much felt like, if they score, that's it, because there's no way that the Patriots would be coming back. And at some point, we knew that, the Seahawks defense is somehow going to be able to get some sort of points for sure.
Yeah, that Seahawk, their offense didn't look great by any means, but compared to the New England offense, they looked like varsity versus JV. Really, they had. So I was looking at some stats. They had 9 explosive plays in the first 3 quarters. You wouldn't necessarily have thought that, because I was just watching the game and was thinking, well, Seattle's still having a hard time moving this ball. But you compare that to New England's 2 explosive plays, and it's pathetic. They had 83 Patriots, 83 net yards in the first 3 quarters. That's it. That's in a Super Bowl. So theoretically, you're the best team in the conference, and I think that's saying more about Seattle's defense than it is than anything else. But your point, Nick, about pressure and stuff, that's exactly what it is, and about May holding on to the ball. And I think Seattle, what they were doing was they were basically playing a lot of too high shell, and they were disguising their blitzes. And so they'd send a lot of guys on the line. They'd simulate pressure, and then it's like, okay, who's actually going to blitz? And if you watch the game, you saw it. Those timed blitz that they were bringing from the secondary was just unreal. Witherspoon and his blitzes were amazing, and several times they'd blitz from the DB, and then the tackles would drop back and go into coverage, and it was. Yeah. It just played with Drake, and you saw it. He actually had a decent amount of time to throw the ball, like 3+ seconds, but he was always trying to throw it downfield. I think this is why he's holding on to the ball. He wasn't checking down. He didn't check down until he had to at the very end. Yeah. And by that time, it's a rush throw, and it doesn't work. They needed to change up their offense so much sooner than what they did. It was just mistake. Sorry.
Yeah, I was just about to say, Brad, I was interested to see how you thought when you were watching it, because I sat there in the 3rd quarter and said that they're sending a few more guys. Mm-hmm. Why are they not just trying to get quick stuff out there? Like, Josh McDaniels has been to Super Bowls. I can't understand why they were still... Now, there were some times where you can see when Drake May was getting sacked, like there was a few times where Booty was out the back and then Diggs was across the middle, and then there was all this stuff. But by the time, obviously, the blitz gets through, you can't make those reads. So I'm just sitting there, I'm just like, why aren't the Patriots just sort of trying to chip away, take what the defense is giving them? They kept sending 5 or 6 guys, and they kept obviously coming towards the right side because they knew that the center, most of the game, was obviously sliding to that left side to help with the 2 rookies, right? So that left the running back, the right guard, and the right tackle against the 2 rushers plus 2 that were coming. So that's where the mismatch kept being made. And I can't understand for the life of me why Josh McDaniels said, okay, he somehow had the time. He was looking deep. He was holding onto the ball. He's not taking off and running. Why not just try and get stuff underneath, pick up 4 yards, pick up 5 yards, just chip away. Yep. And then once they sort of started to play up Seattle, and they were taking those chances in terms of trying to get home more, being a bit more aggressive, that's that drive where Drake had made the mistake. And Seattle were trying to go for the jugular, and that's where they went bang, 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 and then scored. So it's a weird mix. Obviously, it's a very good defense. It's hard to get around. So obviously, you got to be able to try and beat them underneath. You got to bring them up. It's a bit hard to beat them over the top with too high, but they proved on that one drive that they can do it. But they just didn't make those adjustments, and I just felt like McDonald just had everything just working perfectly for them on defense. it just felt like every sort of drive there was just the squeeze that was just happening, and it was just suffocating New England.
Well, and what floored me is the fact that McDaniel, they didn't really send any chips, from the back. So we're talking about when they get pressure, the running back is supposed to chip a defensive lineman or whoever's blitzing, pick up the blitz. And so it didn't allow Drake to get any rhythm throws or anything like that. And it felt like the Patriots were just saying, okay, 3 and punt, 3 and punt, 3 and punt. Well, we'll get this. It'll work out.
The mindset of the Denver game, literally the same mindset.
Yeah. They were waiting for the defense to score for them. That's what it felt like.
I don't know about anyone, the rest, Nick and Isaac, but every time I hear an American say punt or we punt or 3 and punt now, there's only one person I can think of that's doing it. Brad won't see it because there's no social media thing.
Yeah, no, I don't know what you're...
We punt. We punt. We punt. We're the Cleveland Browns. I don't know. It's all right. All right. We have a ton of reactions from people in the NFL Fans Down Under Facebook group as well. And I put the post out there. 32 posts we're up to, or reaction posts from people around Australia, or people in that group at least. I'm just going to put them on the screen and we can read through some, because it's probably the best way to do this today. There's some really obvious ones. Obviously, Tim Straker says no surprises in this one.
I like... sorry, Stephen Simon's comment about interesting to see both defenses on both sides being tops much of the way through. I think that's exactly right. We're not giving New England's D enough credit. They did ball out. They got gassed essentially.
The fact that on every one of those scoring drives through the first 3 quarters, Brad, that they stopped the Seahawks from getting over the line.
Yep.
They held them to field goals, which kept them in the game for a very long period of time.
Yeah.
But they got to 19-0 before they scored anything. And I really thought that A.J. Barner touchdown... By the way, Taylor picked an A.J. Barner anytime touchdown in our multis that we put up.
Oh, in the multis?
We all went... Taylor said A.J. Barner anytime touchdown. Mm-hmm. And we're like, oh, wow, that's a bit of a long shot. A.J. Barner... Not just anytime touchdown, first touchdown of the game.
Oh, did it? Oh, nice. I had...
It's a sensational bet.
Yeah, it is. I had an A.J. Barner anytime, but not first one. And then,
I saw other people did, and it would have been it's a ridiculous price.
The anytime was $3.50, so I don't know what that was. I picked the Seahawks field goal as the first score of the game.
Oh. Yeah,
I got that one. That was only
and I think you also did
a
Patriots punt as their first drive too.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure you got that one.
Nick, I had that, and I had Seattle. The Seattle and New England both to punt their first drive. And then Seattle scored a field goal on their first one, then pumped the next 3 times.
Yeah, you're right. Yep.
Fucking hell, man.
Trace Hawkins says, I predicted Hawks win, but the defense was bloody awesome. To the Patriots' credit, their defense kept them in the game until May stuffed up. Thomas Hawthorne's was a pretty good one because he's a Seahawks fan. Seahawks a far better team. They respected the Patriots' defense, stuck to the game plan. With that came a more conservative style of game, which as a Seahawks fan I'm fine with, but I'm sure neutral fans were looking for more action in the first 3 quarters. Yeah. That's for sure. Yeah. Seahawks defense was elite. Patriots defense was very good. Kenneth Walker deserved MVP. Only offense player that could consistently get the game going in the first 3 quarters. Not wrong. 135 yards on the ground to Kenneth Walker on the day. Should have been over 170 if it wasn't for an O-line penalty during that that 40-yard run he had to the house. So he should have been over 170 in a touchdown.
You could have made an argument for the Seahawks defensive lineman as MVP, I thought, who did that strip sack. Because
I think the hardest part about...
He had a great game.
Yeah, I think the hardest part about picking a defensive player, because I've seen a lot of people say it could have been a defensive player, was it was such a a unit effort.
Yeah.
It was such a team effort on the defense side.
Yeah.
That it's so hard to single just one of them out because they were playing so comprehensively as a unit. I think that's just what did it in. And it's still, there's still a lot to say. You could have picked. If the Patriots won, you could have probably almost picked Christian Gonzalez, 100%. Yeah,
100%.
Or even you probably could have almost picked him as a losing player MVP if you really wanted to, because he was phenomenal for the Patriots. Jack, every day I wasn't expecting the blowout many were expecting. It was like the workmanlike type victory I expected. I think we all did there. Matt Blanch's one is an interesting one, which is they tried to give Drake May the MVP. This is one of the most interesting conversations. No, overall, the season MVP, the league MVP, he was one vote off Matt Stafford's total. So it was Stafford and May, and he was one vote behind Matt Stafford in that MVP race, which we haven't talked about yet, obviously, because that happened since our last show as well. That Matthew Stafford is the league MVP for 2025-26 season. And then you go and play. Could you imagine if he'd gotten those extra couple of votes and gotten the MVP and then go and put up that performance in a Super Bowl?
Yeah, and especially with the way Stafford played against him. And, it's interesting. It goes back to that clip that you showed to us in the green room. So the listener, it's a Seattle DB talking about just what May was doing and that some of the tells that he had versus Stafford. Stafford just grips it and rips it like it's out. Whereas May was like what the guy said, waiting to see if it's open, then throwing. And that's the difference. You can't do that with this Seattle defense.
Michael Crossley, I'm just happy Sam Darnold got a Super Bowl win. I think there's a lot of people around that Sam Darnold just gets this redemption arc from the failure at the Jets and the Panthers to sitting at 49ers and learning from Kyle Shanahan. Nick, how's Kyle Shanahan Super Bowl day? Do you think the thought would have gone into his head at some point at the end of the game where he would have been, I might have just given the Seahawks a Super Bowl win?
And as well, people don't remember this, but we also had Kubiak as well. So we had Kubiak and Sam Darnold 2 years ago. So, we hosted the event and we orchestrated the offensive winning team as well. So, fantastic to see.
Ian, have you heard anything from Vikings fans about Sam Darnold? Are they going?
Yeah, they're all idiots, Brad. They're all idiots.
They're not Cowboys fans.
It's gonna be me finding a new franchise next year, and it won't be because of the team, but because of the fucking fans.
So we have to choose Brad's team this year and your team next year. Okay.
Hey man, doesn't matter what team you pick, you're gonna have idiot fans.
Might just bandwagon it,
except the Chargers because there's none of them.
And the Colts.
Pat's proven to be pretenders with a favourable run all season, says Josh Salan. Look, I think that midway through the game, I think I said to Manjot, this is really not disproving that theory that the Patriots had not just an easy season but an easy run to the Super Bowl. It really wasn't at that point. I know that the defense was playing great, but just every other part of the game, it just really wasn't helping that theory. David Heath had an awesome one, actually.
Yeah.
Clint Kubiak, can't wait to see what he'll do as a head coach of the Raiders. He officially signed as the head coach of the Raiders today. That offense was pretty good. Imagine Genty running similar plays that Farmer had. It's great. I didn't pre-read any of these, so this is going to be awesome. Also, simplified passing game to bring along Mendoza. What Kubiak will have to do is build the defense. Apart from Crosby, White, Porter, the safeties, maybe the Lulu, the Raiders need to build a better D. This is great info for later, by the way. But yeah, how's this for a prediction? Raiders beat, a review. Raiders beat the Patriots in week 1. They're not that far off.
It's true.
Hey, man. If the Raiders, if the Pats can turn around, 14 games, 13 game turnaround, then, Raiders can win 12 games.
Damien listens intently every week, sends us messages, talks to us on Facebook. It's great to get a message from Damien. What'd you think of this? What'd you think of that? Love it. Absolutely love it. Glad the Seahawks won. Would have been interesting more so if no TDs was scored.
That's how you know you're like a hardcore fan, is if no touchdowns are scored, you're like, that was a really interesting, fun game.
If that gets you off, Brad.
Yeah, exactly. Well, easy.
I think it got like 19-0, and I was just hoping for a shutout then, because there hasn't been one in the Super Bowl.
Yes, I think I was too.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Paul Johansson, defenses win championships. They sure do. That adage has never been truer. I'm just going to skip over the worst comments.
It's not wrong.
No, Nick. Let's not.
He's another Niners fan, so I understand it.
2 huge defensive efforts today. Seattle did better. And that was the difference. New England bashed 3 quality defenses to get to the Super Bowl. Grateful for the success this season. Was not expecting a Super Bowl experience. Hopefully next season sees a stronger O-line for New England. That'll be something we're going to be talking about a lot in the coming months, I think.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, this brings up an interesting point, and I think everybody's guilty of it. I know I am, but this kind of this mentality of, well, New England's playing with house money, and the reality is, you can't have that mentality because look at everybody in the pregame was talking about how he was the youngest or the second youngest quarterback to ever make the Super Bowl, next to, of course, Dan Marino. Did Dan ever even get back? No. So, and everybody at that time thought, oh, for sure Dan will get back. But there ain't no guarantees in the NFL. So just because Drake May has had a great season, just because he's got good coaching and stuff, it does not mean that he is going to get back there. That conference is a gauntlet. So, it'll be interesting to see how this plays out. They got to make some changes, but that's for another episode.
Joe Burrow hasn't been back.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Yeah.
Joe Burrow hasn't been back.
Yep.
Amazing offense, and it's the same thing. It's nothing's a given. It's hard to do. It's hard to get there to start with, and it's even harder to get back, to run it back. And it's even for the Seahawks. I think people are already saying that, Mike McDonald could win 4 or 5 Super Bowls. Yeah, he could, in theory, but there aren't many teams that have done that consistently over the years.
Don't say that.
I don't know. He could, but because anything works in theory, Nick.
The fact that you
guys anything works in theory. Tyreek Hill thought the Chiefs were going to win 6 after their first one, so
Yeah, right. But,
Tyreek Hill also thought he'd have a better chance at the Dolphins. All he got was more kids.
Tua was better than Patrick Mahomes, allegedly. That's what he said. That's his word.
He did say that, yep.
Right. That's right.
I love Raylene. That Walker played pretty good. Yeah, he did. But I'm feeling like somebody from the defense should have got MVP. No. I think that's exactly what I said. It's hard to decide when it's a team effort.
Yeah.
Scott Harris backs up Brad's point completely. Seahawks 3 phases was always going to be hard to beat. Pats gave it their shot when we're defensively were up to the mark, but not for the rest of it.
I don't know if that guy, one of the more meh Super Bowls, I don't know if you guys watched any of the commercials.
I did. I actually said to the boys we should do a show just reviewing Super Bowl commercials and ranking the best ones, Brad.
Yeah, the best one I think by far was the manscaping one.
That was weird. The Dunkin' Donuts one I thought was pretty good.
Yeah, that was. It was very nostalgic Super Bowl commercials. Like there was a lot for people geared towards my age. Us old people, 1 foot in the grave.
Well, did you see the one,
How about
the Dorito one? I seen that one today.
No, I didn't see that.
Oh, there
one.
was an
No?
ultrasound and the baby, and he was hovering over the pregnant lady with the Dorito, and she got it
Oh yeah, yep.
and chucked it, and out comes the baby.
Yeah, that's actually I think
an old
that
one,
was
is
that
it?
was a couple years
Yeah,
ago.
okay.
Yeah, it's an older one, and I think it was one of those where like fans submitted the commercial and then they actually put on the air the best fan submitted commercial.
Yeah, okay.
So I think that was the winner from that one.
Yeah,
It
right.
sounded like maybe we should do a show where we just go through Super Bowl commercials and rate them. Apparently,
There you go.
Nathan, a couple more. Nathan Hobley, love the commentator's curse on this potentially being the first Super Bowl with no penalties in the first half. Yet Tirico did in fact mention it 3 minutes out, and boom, yellow flags straight away.
Exactly.
Next play. But realistically, there were very, very little penalties in that entire game. It was pretty good by both sides in terms of discipline.
Yeah, you can even throw punches at guys and not get a flag thrown on you.
Yeah,
So,
that was wild. That was
that's
not as
crazy.
wild as the NBA this week,
Oh.
but in terms of punches,
Yeah.
7 total penalties for the whole game.
That's good. You don't want
Not
to
bad.
see a bunch of penalties. I mean, it's just there's nothing worse than a bunch of penalties.
Oh, this Jason hit on something that I'd forgotten about actually in all of this, because he says that it was a really boring game. Both teams playing to not lose as opposed to someone playing to win. I don't agree with that totally, that part, but it was boring for people that I guess don't watch a ton of football. No passive play quite summed up the game better than Vrabel's decision to punt on 4th and 1 from the New England 41 line halfway through the third quarter.
Yeah.
This is yet again another one of those. I think we talked about this last season with Todd Bowles, where he chose to punt on a 4th and 1 play, and it was all about what the hell are you doing? It's in this day and age, 4th and 1 should be an automatic go.
Go for it.
In a Super Bowl
Yeah.
in the third quarter when you're down, 4th and 1 should be go.
Yeah, I mean, I can see both sides of it, because the reality is, if they don't get it, then game over. It's really you got still a quarter and a half left to play. If you punt, you're at least still in the game. Your defense is playing awesome. You hope maybe you can get a turnover. So I understand the frustration and why people would say that, but I don't think it's quite that cut and dried.
This part of it, the back end of his comment, he said that he can't help but feel that if the Broncos had beaten New England in the championship, Sean Payton would have been more aggressive in his play calling and asked more questions of the Seahawks defense.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Even if they wouldn't have won the game, they would have asked more of the defense.
Yeah. So what do you think, Isaac? Is McVay going for it in that situation?
Yeah, I think so. He's done that all season. He'd go for it, especially with his running backs. You'd go for it.
Yeah, exactly. Nick, what do you think? Is Shanahan going for it?
No.
Huh?
No.
He's got
conservative.
CMC.
Yeah. He's gonna.
Isaac, I've seen it. I've seen it when he's gone for it on 3rd and 1 many times. It happens. Brings back bad memories. But the first Super Bowl, when the Chiefs were sort of turning the tide, and it was like 4th and 2, and most of it got sort of stuck. We had most at the time, Raheem Mostert, and he got stuffed. From a 3rd and 2 went to a 4th and 2. Oh, sorry, 3rd and 1 went to a 4th and 2, and it was about midway. And this is when we're up by 4, I think. I'll have to go back and check the tape. And he goes for a punt. So I've seen it in the Super Bowl before.
Yeah, okay.
But all year, even example of all year, like I've seen him before. The divisional against Seattle was a perfect one where, all year we've been very good on QB sneaks, and I don't know, for some reason just didn't go to it, even on a very short 4th and 1. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
so sometimes he's pretty conservative.
All right, final one. We'll read out. Brendan May hits on a big point I think we've been making for a few weeks or a little while now. It proves that QBs who hold the team to ransom, demanding large chunks of the cap that it takes a team to win a Super Bowl.
Yes.
You can't go to a Super Bowl expecting 2 rookie O-lines to protect the QB either.
100%.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's one of the best comments of the board there. Hats off to Schneider, man. That guy, I feel like for him to put together 2 Super Bowl rosters like that, with the Legion of Boom and now this Dark Side, that's phenomenal. Who else has done that? Seriously, what other GM has done that?
So he's been to 3 Super Bowls, won 2 of them, 2 completely different eras. The decision to move on from Russell Wilson now seems like a masterstroke. So it's you move on from Russell Wilson, you take a bit of a punt, and there's some gap years and all that, but you build the roster, And I think we said it a couple of weeks ago. He's never taken QBs and things early. Like, they're always late. They've always spent their first round picks on guys that are in the engine room
defense.
and defense, and build it right. And he put together, I guess, a roster of guys that meant that once they even got Mike McDonald in, he could mold these guys into a certain form, So it was just
And
I was going to say,
go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, remember we did like a little game between, we did a draft of like GM, head coach and QB not too long ago.
Yeah.
And the first guy I took out of all the GMs that were selected, the first guy I took was Harry Roseman out of all of them. I said, well, the GM is the most important guy. And this year it proved itself again. The last 3 drafts, this is who Seattle selected through the draft. So it proves that you need the teams, just like the Eagles had last year. 4 of their 5 starting O-line from Monday, they had drafted in the last 3 years. Jackson Smith and Jigba, Kenneth Walker went in the second round in that draft in the 2022 draft. AJ Barner went in the 4th round in 2024. Then on defense, they had, obviously, Devon Witherspoon was pick 4, I think. Pick 4 or 5 in 2023. Then they had Hall and Byron Murphy, and then obviously the last draft they had Nick Emanwari in the second round. So there you go. That's just in the last 3 years. So it just proves like if you got a GM that can pick your players and can hit on draft picks, they've got Sam Darnold is really on the cheap compared to like other quarterbacks that are on at least second contracts.
And that's the thing I think that to me is the most impressive is that he's not afraid to take the big swings. Most GMs I feel like would play it conservative and say, okay, we've got a decent team. We're just going to kind of tweak here and there. You got to remember, letting go of Geno Smith and bringing in Sam Darnold, that was a little bit of a controversial move. So what do you guys think? Does Seattle get to the Super Bowl and win with Geno Smith?
No.
Yeah.
Geno turns the ball over.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is a weird thing to say about Sam Darnold, but but since week 18, man, like he had he had a lot of turnovers this season, but since week 18 and the divisional and then the conference championship and then obviously on Monday, no turnovers.
Yeah.
There's a few times where he thought that first throw that he had almost was very close to being a pick 6, that very first throw, but it wasn't like that comment that we saw before about playing not to lose. I sort of don't agree with that because I felt like Sam Darnold was still trying to make those throws and trying to, not being too conservative. So he was still trying to push it through, but he didn't turn the ball over. So it's a weird thing to say, looking back, if you had said this to me 24 months ago. But yeah, I mean, hats off to the guy. Like, the biggest games he's played in, it's come through in every single one of them. And that's what you ask.
How many draft picks did you say for Schneider in the last couple of years, Nick?
Out of all those guys?
Yeah, how many did you say? What was your number there? 7?
Nah, more than that. So out of those
I just looked up. So there's 15. So there's 15 guys that started in the Super Bowl that John Schneider drafted since 2022.
Jeez.
There you go.
15.
Yeah, there you go. So,
And that excludes the free agent signings that they had, who guys that started too.
yeah. If this does not scream, you got to build your team, then get your quarterback. I don't know what does. This idea of, we're going to get a number one quarterback and then build around him. It's too hard, I think. Yeah, you can do it, but it's too hard, and you got a lot more room for error if you build the team and then get your quarterback versus the other way around.
There's a lot of different ways to make chili, Brett.
Oh, how dare you! You gotta have bacon and chorizo and then some cream cheese. No.
Oh wow.
Boys, there's got to be one of these years where we actually watch the Super Bowl with Brad and have Brad's chili.
Oh, trust me. You'll be
always...
having it twice, let me tell you.
All right, so that's the Super Bowl recap and review and reactions from everybody in the NFL Fans Down Under Facebook group. I have to say a massive thank you to that group, NFL Fans Down Under Facebook group.
Yeah.
They have been phenomenal for us this season, and especially to US Sports Down Under, who actually own that group or admin part of that group. Matt Burton, Andy Thomas, Tim Straker, who commented on there as well. He's the moderator. Those guys basically let us take over that when it's one of the group rules is to not do that. But we managed to get that across the line every single week this season. Massive thanks to a lot of people that have come on the show as well to give their thoughts and reactions each week and preview their own team and talk about that, because we've got quite a few people, quite a few new listeners and some new friends from that group this year, which has been awesome. Isaac's been doing some stellar work every week talking to people in that group and trawling through reactions and figuring out what we're going to talk about. So that's been awesome for us this season. Really, really good. In terms of where to from here, you will see or hear us at least once a week right through until free agency in the start of March. So we'll have one show a week. We're going to aim for around half an hour. We aim for about half an hour for this thing, and so far it's 47 minutes. So as you can see, we like to talk. So you'll be able to find us everywhere at G'Day Gridiron. You'll find us on the socials, find us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. You can also go to the Linktree /Aussie Gridiron Network. I'm sure we'll have some of the boys on at some point over the off-season because they'll all miss just talking into a camera and shooting shit with the boys. We're going to do... What are we doing, boys? We're going to do some... we're going to look at every single team in the league and what we think they need coming into next season, going into free agency and draft. That's pretty much sums that up, doesn't it?
Yeah,
absolutely. Whatever we're going to do, it's going to be gold, Jerry.
It will be. Jerry would agree, I'm sure. So you'll hear a lot from us. We'll be able to sort of keep you company, and you can keep us company over these next 8 to 10 weeks before the draft. Actually, it'll be about 9 weeks, because then we will roll into our Draftapalooza show for 2026. My God, I just counted that out, and my brain just computed that. We only have 9 weeks, just 2 months before we are at the draft.
It's a year-round sport.
Let's do it. We get to start again.
So I joked the other day that we might have to start talking about NRL and rugby, but
no,
maybe we don't.
It's night time.
No, we're yeah. Unfortunately, we got to talk about the Steelers fan base.
Ain't nobody got time for that, is it?
Winter Olympics on.
Oh, the Winter Olympics are on right now. Go and watch some Winter Olympics. But anyway, thanks very much for joining us. And then we hope you catch us right through the off season. And yeah, we hope to catch you through the off season. So check us out at G'Day Gridiron everywhere. See you later.
Go Cowboys.